The night I drove into the winding hills of Kentucky. I didn't expect anything more than a quiet roadside stop. My car sputtered and died just as the moon disappeared behind thick clouds, total darkness pressing in. I had no phone signal, and only the faint glow of a distant sign caught my eye, Waverly Hills Sanatorium. The boarded-up windows stared back at me like blind eyes. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. With no other choice, I pulled open a rusty gate and shuffled toward the looming building. Every step echoed through the empty parking lot. Inside, the air was stale, heavy with the scent of damp wood and memory. My footsteps rattled across a dusty lobby, long abandoned, faded signage swinging on rusted hinges overhead. I flicked on the shaky beam of my flashlight and saw a dusty reception desk. A ledger of names yellowed with decay, patients long gone. A whisper of movement brushed past me. I turned quickly. But nothing stirred. My heart hammered. The hairs on my arms stood on end. Something felt wrong, desperate, as if I had intruded in a place that should have been left alone. As I climbed the grand staircase, the wood groaned under my weight. As though warning me, shadows pooled in the corners, the air felt heavy. At the top, a long hallway stretched away in darkness. Doors lining both sides. I heard, or thought I heard, a soft, distant coughing, then silence. My flashlight flickered. I froze. Then a cold breeze passed through me, carrying what sounded like a faint moan. I convinced myself it must be the wind. But the moan had tone, sorrowful, desperate, like a plea. I walked on, compelled by fear and morbid curiosity. Halfway down the corridor I stopped before a door marked, Room 502, Isolation Ward. The paint was chipped, the number barely visible. My flashlight trembled as I pushed the door open. Inside, a single rusted bed frame stood. Mattress long gone. On the wall, a smear of dark discoloration looked like a handprint pressed in desperation. My breath caught. I felt as though I had stepped into someone's final moment. Then the door behind me slammed, hard. I jumped, spun around, but no breeze. No open window, only darkness, only that awful stillness. I scrambled back into the hallway. The moaning had grown louder, echoing softly along the corridor, as though coming from every room at once. I swallowed hard. My flashlight's battery flickered, with no signal and no exit in sight. Panic clawed at me. I felt watched, eyes in the darkness, waiting. Then, somewhere ahead, I saw movement, a pale figure gliding slowly across the floor. Barely visible in the dim light. It didn't walk, it drifted. A shape of sorrow. I froze, unable to breathe. The figure paused, its head tilting as though seeing me for the first time. Heart pounding, I backed away, slipping on cracked floorboard. My flashlight dropped and spun, casting wild arcs of light across the walls. For a moment I saw dozens of faces, pale, gaunt, eyes hollow, flickering in and out like failing film frames. Then darkness swallowed everything. I cursed under my breath, scrambled to pick up the flashlight, and heard a whisper, soft, raspy, right next to my ear, "Help me." My ears rang. I froze, sweat chilling on my skin. I couldn't move. I didn't want to move, but I had to. I stumbled farther down the hall. I reached the end of the hallway and found a battered staircase descending into even deeper darkness. The moaning now had shape, sorrow, regret, longing. I needed to leave, but my legs felt like lead. Then I heard coughing, a long, labored cough, coming from below. It sounded almost human. I gripped the railing, each step echoing like a gunshot. The stairs narrowed, walls closing in, and the air grew colder. My breath puffed in the air. The sound followed me. Cough, cough, cough. Louder, closer. I couldn't see anything, but I felt it. Felt it breathing, felt it waiting. At the bottom, I reached a heavy metal door, rusted but ominously intact. My flashlight wavered. With shaking fingers I pushed. The door creaked open to reveal a long tunnel. The so-called body chute, where bodies were once wheeled out in secret. The tunnel stretched into utter blackness. The air smelled of damp earth and old rot. As I stepped in, the moans crescendoed, not just sorrow anymore, but anger, anguish. The flashlight's beam revealed piled shadows, shapes overlapping, limbs, or what looked like limbs, caught in the gloom. I staggered back, retching. My mind screamed, "Leave. Now." I turned and fled, my heartbeat pounding louder than my footsteps. Behind me, the tunnel seemed to shift. Walls breathing, shadows stretching. I half expected ghostly fingers to reach out. I sprinted up the stairs, up the hallway, bursting into the lobby. The air outside felt lighter, but still cold. Still wrong. I didn't look back. I ran to my car, hands shaking, locked the doors, and turned the ignition. The engine roared to life. And under the broken clouds the moon peaked again. I sped away, leaving the old sanatorium behind. But I could still hear the moaning in my ears. Weeks later, sleep became impossible. In every dark corner of my room I felt watched. At night I tossed and turned, haunted by dreams of hollow-eyed faces, labored coughs, walls dripping with shadows. I researched the history of that place. It truly was a tuberculosis sanatorium back in the early 1900s. Thousands died there. Rumors claim more than 100,000 souls may still wander its halls. I don't know what I saw that night, but I know this: some places keep their dead, and sometimes they come looking for company. I haven't gone back, but I can't stop hearing them.